Welcome to NASCAR Nation. Please subscribe to channel so that we can complete our family of 5,000 subscribers.
Cleetus McFarland just had the kind of Berlin Raceway debut that can change the entire conversation around his move into late model racing. He came to Michigan for one of the biggest short track races of the year, lined up against some of the best names in pavement racing, and had thousands of fans watching every lap. But with the race winding down, everything suddenly went wrong. Cleetus ended up collecting another car before his night came to a painful end with heavy damage. And the crazy part is, this happened while the race leader was coming up to lap him. So how did Cleetus go from simply trying to survive his first super late model start to ending the night with a badly damaged race car? And what does this result actually mean for his next race at Berlin? You need to see how this entire night unfolded, so make sure you watch all the way to the end. Before the crash ever happened, Cleetus already had a difficult challenge in front of him. The Tecton 250 at Berlin Raceway was a 250-lap event paying $40,000 to the winner, and the field was packed with serious short-track talent. This wasn't just another local late-model race. Carson Hocevar was there, Ty Majeski was there, Bubba Pollard was there, Evan Shotko was there, Tristan McKee was there, and Cleetus was stepping into that environment for his super late model debut. Even before the race, the excitement around his Berlin appearance was huge. Carson Hocevar and Eric Jones had previously talked about what Cleetus was bringing to short-track racing, with Jones calling the impact pretty astronomical when discussing the crowds and energy surrounding him. And Cleetus had a tough start to the night. In the first practice session, he actually showed some speed, posting the 13th fastest time out of 27 cars. His 16.366-second lap put him ahead of several experienced competitors. And for a driver making his first super late model start at Berlin, that was a respectable opening. But qualifying told a different story. Cleetus turned a 16.510-second lap, which put him 22nd in the field. That meant he would have a lot of cars to work through if he wanted to make his way toward the front during a 250-lap race. He had to manage the car, the tires, the traffic, and a track that gives drivers very little room for mistakes. Berlin Raceway is only 0.438 miles around, so everything happens extremely quickly. But while the leaders were fighting for the victory, Cleetus was dealing with an entirely different problem. The leader, Evan Shotko, was closing in to lap him. And then Cleetus got loose in turn 3. The car snapped around, and Cleetus spun down the racetrack. His car collected Keith Herp's number 18 machine, and the contact caused major damage to both cars. According to the race report, the crash tore apart the nose of Cleetus's car and damaged the right side of Herp's machine. Just like that, Cleetus's first super late model race at Berlin was effectively over. For most of the night, Evan Shotko had been one of the major drivers at the front. Shotko led a large portion of the race and appeared to be in position to fight for another major Berlin victory. Later in the race, Shotko appeared to suffer a right front problem, and he went hard into the turn 3 wall. That took him out of contention and shuffled the battle for the win. Cleetus did not finish last. He was officially classified 19th out of 27 drivers. He started 22nd, made it through more than 230 laps, and was still running late in the race before the incident ended his night. Cleetus got loose while the leader was closing in, and once the car started rotating, there was very little time to react. This was a difficult situation because he was dealing with traffic while the leader was approaching from behind. At a track as small as Berlin, being caught by the leader puts even more pressure on a driver to maintain a predictable line while still keeping the car underneath them. Cleetus simply lost the car in turn 3, and once it started rotating, the consequences came quickly. And there was another interesting part to the night. While Cleetus's race ended in the closing stages, the fight for the actual victory was becoming one of the best battles of the entire event. After Shotko's crash, Bubba Pollard moved into the lead, with Tristan McKee right there fighting for the win. Pollard is one of the most respected super late model drivers in the country, while McKee has been establishing himself as one of the young stars to watch. The two drivers went door to door during the closing laps, Then Pollard appeared to bottom out entering turn 3. Tristan McKee went on to take the checkered flag and score his first victory in the Tecton 250 battle at Berlin. Bubba Pollard finished second. Carson Hocevar came home third. Ty Majeski finished fourth. And Boris Jerkovic completed the top 5. McKee earned the biggest win of the night, while Pollard had to settle for second after being right there for the victory in the final laps. And that puts Cleetus' 19th place finish into perspective. Was it the debut he wanted? Obviously not. He came to Berlin with enormous attention around him, and nobody wants their first major super late model race to end with the nose of their car torn apart. But this also isn't the end of the story. Cleetus is still learning this type of racing. He is trying to build experience in late models, and that means nights like this are going to be part of the process. The important thing now is what happens next. Because Cleetus isn't leaving Berlin after one race. He is scheduled to be back at the track for his own late model event on August 15th, just 3 days after the battle at Berlin. That changes the situation completely. Instead of having weeks or months to analyze what went wrong, the next opportunity is coming almost immediately. The team now has to look at the crash, assess the damage, prepare the car, and figure out what Cleetus can take from the experience. And that's probably the most interesting part of this entire story. The crash itself is going to dominate the headlines, but the real test is what Cleetus does after it. Does he come back more conservative in the corners? Can he qualify closer to the front? And most importantly, can he turn this difficult debut into useful experience before the next race? Because Berlin gave Cleetus a very real lesson. The speed is only one part of the equation. At this level, you also need consistency, traffic awareness, and the ability to keep the car under control when everything around you is moving at full speed. Cleetus didn't get the result he wanted. He didn't get the clean debut he came for, and he certainly didn't get to see the checkered flag after that late crash. But he did complete a major step in his late model journey. Now, all eyes turn to what he does next. Because after a 19th place finish and a heavily damaged race car, Cleetus McFarland has almost no time to sit around and think about what went wrong. His next Berlin opportunity is already waiting. And if he can come back stronger after this crash, this rough debut could end up being remembered as the race where Cleetus learned one of his most important lessons in late model racing. What do you think? Was this simply part of the learning process, or did Cleetus show that he still has a lot of work to do before he can consistently compete with the top super late model drivers? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want the latest updates on Cleetus McFarland, NASCAR, and everything happening across the racing world,